And now, it's the end of the Alliance of American Football by the numbers. Up first, the number 8. This is the number of weeks this thing lasted, 8 out of a 10-game season. Now compare that to these other great leagues of the past, which had our attention. How about the XFL? It lasted 12 weeks, or one season. The World Football League of the 70s, 35 weeks, which was less than 2 seasons. And then you have the USFL, the old Houston Gamblers. That league lasted 62 weeks, or 3 seasons. Our next number is 70, as in $70 million, the amount the league's primary investor, Tom Dundon, may be losing after committing $250 million back in February. And finally, this number, 416. It's the number of players who are now without a job, along with coaches and support staff and others, and that is the shame here. One report claims those players now have to pay for their own flights home. And that is the end of the Alliance of American Football by the numbers.